statement, review the financial statement, you should comply with the code. In later, we discuss about the objectives and the codes, what are the codes we should follow as a professional accountant. In the purpose, they have mentioned the codes provide the conceptual framework for the professional accountants to apply and identify, evaluate the threats when we deal with the financial statements and the financial perspectives. We have to face with some difficulties and the threats and issues for give the solution for this kind of thing. As a professional, we should follow the codes. In addition to that, in this uh, case of audits, reviews, and other assurance engagement, the code set out international independent state standards. The codes are set out by the international independence standards established by applicable of the conceptual framework to threats to independence in relation to these engagement. As auditor, we have to, as auditor, they have to review the audits and engage with the audit assurance. Then code of ethics are set out by the international independent standards. As per the international independent standards, they should follow to overcome the threats that are arising from the review and the engagement. Then this is the purpose to develop the codes and the professional accountant should follow. And here you can see the structure of the codes. In here there are mainly four part we have to study with the course fundamental principles and conceptual framework we have to discuss. And also under the part 2, the professional accountant in business, and part 3, professional accountant in public practices, and part 4, international independent standard. Under this individual engagements, these are the conceptual concept for the course. The courses are divided into four parts. Under the four part, we have to discuss further what are the codes and how these codes are aligned with the conceptual framework, and how the professional accountants use these code in their businesses, in the private and public sector, and international independent standards they want to follow. These things we have to discuss with the code and ethics. You can see here the first part mentioned that complying with the code fundamental principles and conceptual framework. Here you can see the part 1, complying with the code fundamental principle and conceptual framework, which include the fundamental principles and the conceptual framework and is applicable to all professional accountants. This is the basis for the codes. The fundamental principles included. In later, we can discuss what are the fundamental principles as a professional accountant should follow. I think you remember the objectivity, integrity, professional behavior. Likewise, you can study 5 fundamental principles that the professional accountant should follow. Those are developed in the conceptual, as per the conceptual framework, and all professionals should follow this kind of fundamental principle. And under part 2, discuss about the professional accountant in business. That means which set out additional materials that applies to professional accountant in business when performing professional activities like commercials, industrial or services, the public sector, education, the not-for-profit sector, regulatory and professional bodies. The additional material that the professional accountant should apply. And also part 3 discuss professional accountant in public practices, which set out the additional material that applies to professional accountant in public practices when providing the professional services. When providing the professional service for the public sector, the professional accountant how should act with them. In the part 3 section discuss about these matters. If the persons provide the services or the other advisors to the public sector, how they should act are mentioned under the part 3 of the codes. And part 4. In the part 4, it address that the Sri Lankan independent standards, which set out additional material that apply to professional accountant in public practices when providing assurance services. The assurance services, so there are two types, the independence for audit and review engagement, which apply when performing audits or review engagement, and also independence for assurance engagement other than audit and review engagement. The first engagement, second highlight that audit engagement, which apply when performing assurance engagement that are not audit or review engagement. The professional accountants, what are the accountants should follow the independent standards. In the para 4A mentioned that the audit and review engagement. The para 4B mentioned that the other than the audit and review engagement, what are the codes and the principles should follow by the professional. And the glossary mentioned that some words, keywords, they have mentioned in the under the glossary of the structure. Then by using these keywords, they can identify more details related to the codes. Okay, as I said earlier, we have to follow some 5 fundamental principles. As a professional accountant, we have to follow 5 fundamental principles. I think you have aware these principles because the in Sri Lanka and chartered account examination in a corporate and strategy level. I think you have to study these things, the code of ethics. There are 5 basic fundamental principles we have to learn: the integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and also professional behavior. These are the main 5 fundamental principles. So let's discuss one by one how these principles are help to the professional accountant and how professional accountants should align with these principles. How should align with these principles? As a first principles, you can see the integrity. What is the integrity? The integrity is straightforward or honest. As a professional accountant, you should be a straightforward and honest in all professional and business relations. මොකක්ද කියන්නේ principles එක පළවෙනි integrity එක යා කියන අවංක වෙන්න ඕන. professional relationship වලදී business relationship වලදී අවංක වෙන්න ඕන. A professional accountant should not be associated with returns, communication, or other information where they believe the that the information. Here you can see the some example contain a materially false or misleading statement, stating that the financial statements are true and fair when material misstatement exists. That means when prepare the financial statements, the professional accountant should comply with integrity and he should be a honest person. That's then the financial statement should be true and fair. If there is any material misstatements, they should disclose. If the person is aligned with the integrity, අවංකයි නම් එයා financial statements වල misstatements තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා හෙළිදරව් කරනවා. He or she should disclose the financial material misstatements of the financial statements before give the opinion of the auditor or the person. The financial statement should be true and fair view. If there is any material misstatement, they should disclose. If not, the integrity principle is violated and contain statements or information furnished recklessly. Carelessly include information in the report without having sufficient evidence. Without the sufficient evidence, the informations are included in the financial statement or any reports. It's not honest. It's not aligned with the integrity. It's violated. As a professional, he should he should follow the fundamental principles, the integrity. That means if there is no any sufficient evidence to provide the current status of the financial positions or any other information, they should not provide the incorrect or wrong information. She should not do that kind of thing. And omits or obscures information required to be included where such omissions or obscurity would from the financial statements intentionally to mislead the users of financial statement. Financial statements include the incorrect information. හිතාමතාම අපි financial statements වලට informations වැරදියට දානවා, mislead කරලා දානවා හිතාමතාම intentionally the person do that kind of thing it's violate the integrity principles. Then as per the integrity principles should not be done. Not should be done when prepare the reports, return and develop. And the principles we can see the objectivity. What's the objectivity? As a professional accountant, the objectivity principles mention that you should not allow bias, conflict of interest or undue influence. Here you can see the professional accountant shall not undertake a professional activity aligning influence the accountant's professional judgment regarding that activities. The professional accountant should not undertake the professional activities, circumstance or the relationship underlying influence the accountant's professional judgment. Professional කෙනෙක්ට එයා judgment එකට බලපාන විදිය කිසිදු professional ක්‍රියාකාරකම activities එකක් බාර ගන්න බෑ. At the end of the output, the professional judgment, is there any impact for the professional judgment? Is there any circumstance or the relationship have impacted to the final solution or the judgment of the professional? The person should not undertake that kind of activities as per the objectivity principles. And the relationship that bias or underlying influence the professional judgment of the professional accountant should be avoided. Here you can see the example, the auditing the financial statements of the company where his or her spouse work. There is a person in the firm, the auditor auditing the financial statements of the company, but that person's spouse is working in that organization in finance division. Then the objectivity principle is violated. ඔඩිට කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා ඔඩිටගේ භාර්යාව වැඩ කරන්නේ ඒ කම්පැනි එකේ ෆයිනෑන්ස් ඩිවිෂන් එකේ. එතකොට ඒ කම්පැනි එකේ ෆයිනෑන්ෂියල් ස්ටේට්මන්ට්ස් රිවිව් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ එතන ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිවිටි කියන ප්‍රින්සිපල්ස් එකට හානියක් වෙනවා. It's a bias, not allow bias. The objectivity principles mention that he or she not align with the bias, the conflict of interest and undue influence. Then this kind of situation, the objectivity principles is violated. Therefore, we can't do that kind of things under the objectivity principle. And preparations of financial of company where she or he has invested. I am the persons of accountants. I should align with the objectivity, but I have invested some amount in the PLC company. Shares invested. But in the same company, I prepare the financial statement and the another required report. But as objectivity principles, I can't do that kind of thing because I am the I have invested some shares in the organizations. In the situation, I have a bias. As per the objectivity principles, I have not power to prepare the financial statements on behalf of that company because it's a buyer and violate the objectivity principles. And next, the principle, the professional competence and due care. What's the professional competence and due care? The professional competence and due care mentioned that impose the following obligations on professional accountants. Under this, to maintain professional accountants, professional knowledge and skills, the professional accountants or the professional should comply with the principles and he should maintain professional knowledge and skills where the places the required at the level required to ensure that the client or employer receive competent professional services. When they provide the professional services for the other party, third party, the professional should be aligned with the professional knowledge and skills. They should use their professional knowledge and the skills to provide the professional services. The professional competence and due care address that he should maintain the professional knowledge and skills that he have gathered throughout their professional period and act diligently in accordance with applicable technical and professional standards when providing professional services. They should align with the applicable technique and professional standards as a professional should follow. These things should be considered when provide the professional services to the other parties. This is the principle, the professional competence and due care. The competent professional services requires the exercise of sound judgment in applying professional knowledge and skills in the profession of such services. Here the professional competence may be divided into two separate phases. The phases that consist in two parts, the attainment of professional competence and maintenance of professional competence. The professional competence we can divide it into two parts, attainment and maintenance. Then we have to discuss the fourth principles of the uh, fundamental principles, the confidential. In these principles, provide the informations acquired as a result of professional and business relationship and should not disclose any such information to third party. The professional accountants or professional person should not provide the informations uh, to the third party which are secret for the organization without proper and sufficient authority unless there is legal or professional right to duty to disclose. The person should not provide the uh, importance and secret information for the other party. Here you can see the principles of confidentiality enforce an obligation on professional accountant to refrain from disclosing outside a firm or employee organization confidential information acquired as a result of professional and business relationship without proper and specific authorities or unless there is a legal or professional right or due to disclose. The professional disclose the information to the outside if there is no any legal or professional rights or due to disclose. If there is no any legal uh, order or any other professional right, if there is no any legal or professional right to disclose, the person should not disclose the confidential information to the other party. confidential company එකට අදාළ confidential informations වෙනත් party එකකට legal order එකක් හරි අයිතියක් හරි කියන්නේ authority එකක් හරි දීලා නැතුව disclose කරන්න බෑ. company අපි හිතමු for example the company acquire the another entity. They have a strategic plan. The company is going to acquire the another entity in next 2 years. This is a specific strategies for the organizations. As a financial as an accountant, they should not disclose these kind of strategically information to the other party without any authorities or any approval. අපි හිතමු කම්පැනි අවුරුදු දෙකකින් වෙනත් එකක් ඇක්වයර් කරගෙන වෙනත් සමාගමක් ඇක්වයර් කරගන්න යනවා. ඒක ස්ට්‍රැටජිකලි ගත්ත තීරණයක් টොප් ලෙවල් මැනේජර්ස්ලා. එතකොට එයාලා කියලා කියනවා මේ සම්බන්ධව තාම කාටවත් කියන්න එපා. therefore accountants විදියට accountant ඒ පිළිබඳව කාටවත් දැනුම් දෙන්න බෑ. It's a confidentiality. It is the information is confidence for the organizations only. They should not disclose or declare this information for the third party. That's why the principle is developed. The confidentiality principle should follow. The professional accountant or professional auditor should align with these kind of principles. And the second bullet point, you can see using confidential information acquired as a result of professional and business relationship to their personal advantage or the advantage of third party. The confidential information should not use for their personal advantages or the other third party advantages. The confidential information should not use. The confidentiality principles mention that the professional person should align with the confidentiality and not disclose any of the informations to the third party which are confidential for the organization. Then up to now we have discussed 4 principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, and confidentiality. And lastly, we have to discuss the principles of before moving to the last part, you can see the confidentiality further. You can see here the need to comply with the principles of confidentiality continue even after end of the relationship between the professional accountant and client or the employer. If there is any agreement between the professional and the company, even though the agreement is over, even though the agreement is end, the confidential information should not disclose for the other party. අපි agreement එකක් ගහගෙන තියෙනවා නම් අපි හිතමු the KPMG firm audited audit there is a company PLC, the auditors are the KPMG. Then KPMG audit their financial statements, and after 5 years period the company change their auditors. They are going to obtain the services and the audit services from the EY. Then the whatever the informations gathered from the whatever the information and the relationship maintained by the KPMG and company, once the agreement is over after the 5 year, the KPMG auditors should not disclose their financial or other internal related or other any information which regarding to the PLC company for the other parties. The agreement එක අවුරුදු 5කින් ඉවර කියන agreement එකක් නෙමෙයි අපි අවුරුදු 5ක සර්විස් එකක් අරගෙන අපි EY එකට මාරු වෙනවා. කම්පැනි එක. එතකොට කම්පැනි එක EY එකට මාරු වුණාට පස්සේ KPMG එක කියන්න බෑ මේ කට්ටියගේ ෆයිනෑන්ෂියල්ස් මෙහෙම තිබ්බේ මේ කට්ටියගේ මේ ඉෂුව තිබ්බා කියලා කම්පැනි එකට අදාළ දේවල් වෙන කායකවත් third party එකත් එක්ක disclose කරන්න බෑ. It's a confidentiality. As a professional, the KPMG should follow this principle. They can't disclose their information to the other party if there is no any responsibility or the legal bound. Legally කියලා තියෙනවා නම් they can disclose and they have the power to disclose, they have the responsibility to disclose, they can do, but without this kind of thing they can't disclose their information to the other parties. That's why the confidentiality is identified as a principle. The following are circumstances where professional accountants are or may be required to disclose confidential information or when such disclosure or employer. These are the two ways the information should disclose. One is disclose required by law. If the law is say you should provide the information and disclose the information regarding to the organizations. At that situation, at that time, the company and the other the professional relevant parties. Production of document or other provisions of evidence in the course of legal proceeding and disclose to the appropriate public authorities of violation of law that come to light. This kind of situations, the disclosures are required. There is a professional duty or right to disclose when not prohibited by law. නීතියෙන් ඒක වරදක් විදියට දකින්න නැත්නම් එයාලට ඒක disclose කරන්න පුළුවන්. To a member body or professional body to respond to an inquiry or investigation by a member body. To comply with situation, this the confidential information and the required information they should disclose. Other than that, can't disclose the this. That's why the confidential principles have been developed. Developed to the professional. The last principle is professional behavior.
Recording stopped.